G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to watch a game picked up from the Korean server. It's not actually a ladder game, but it should be a bit of fun here. We've got a Terran versus a Protoss here. Now, obviously, that's my second favorite matchup, so we'll see what happens in this one. Perhaps it can sway my my thoughts on the matchup, but we'll see what happens, of course. Down in the bottom left of Zelnaga Cabins, we've actually got our red Terran by the name of Michael. This is just very simple. His name sort of translates out to Michael. So either A, this is a Korean who just wanted to use a cool name Michael, or perhaps it's someone actually from the foreign scene who's playing on the Korean ladder. I don't know. Either way, shout out to Michael, all the Michaels out there. Hey guys, my dad's middle name is Michael, so hello to him as well. Hello to my dad. Hello to my little brother, whose little birthday was yesterday. Anyway, enough about me. Up the top right, we've got Itashi, the pink Protoss up here, very sexy pink. Oh wow, that's a very cool color, especially if you're Stefano. Who knows Stefano? Hands up if you know Stefano. But anyway, we've just got a standard sort of opening from both of these players. We've got that gateway going down on, when was that? That was around about 13, or was that 12? I don't know. Either way, it's pretty standard sort of stuff here from Itashi, and we'll see what happens here, because of course this can be a map where it can be very interesting for Protoss, depending on when you take this gold base. This can be very significant in the scope of the game, depending on if you take the base, if you take the gold as your third, or if you take the gold as your fourth base, because of depending on what exactly the Terran gets up to, you can have a little bit of trouble with controlling that gold base from time to time. But of course that's actually something which is a little bit more significant in Protoss versus Zerg, where you can get Broodlords sieging up your gold base, and that's of course no fun at all, but of course in this matchup you can have tanks that can do the same sort of thing, and can cause a little bit of mischief, but we'll see what happens in this particular one. We've got that scouting probe from Itachi just heading in, seeing that the gas was up and running, saw the SCV count as well. The high level players of course have always got to be aware of how many workers are down, and when you get to that high sort of level you can check out things like the worker count and see exactly what is going on here. And speaking of high level, look at this, just scouting through the back here, Michael just popping through the secret hallway. Is this a secret hallway? Is this a Junker common knowledge hallway? I can't remember. Either way, just popping through the back there to check out if there are any proxy pylons, of course, which can be a bane of the Terran existence at the start of a game on this map. This map is actually quite popular to see Stargate being put down in this location here. Just chuck down a proxy pylon, put your Stargate down, and you're ready to rumble with a couple of Void Rays at the front of the Terran base. Now, of course, the reason a lot of people do that is, as we can see, a lot of Terrans still wall off on this map. I'm not sure if it's always the best thing to do, but as we can see, he's just going to float that back down. We've got a second gas here, and I'm thinking, yeah, hello, we've got a factory going down in this proxy position. So it looks as if Michael's going to do for his own sort of proxy tech play. As we can see, he's got this factory down. That SCV just working away, trying to get that up. I'm thinking this could be proxy Banshees, maybe. Probably cloak Banshees, given that that second gas was up and running. So this could get a little bit ugly, perhaps, for our Protoss Itachi. Now, he's currently sitting on one gate. He's got the warp gate tech just over halfway done, and it looks as if he's going to be expanding down to the natural base. There it is. In fact, he's got that nexus already done, and there it is. There's the starport. So it's definitely going to be a starport with some sort of drop. No, it's actually going to be Hellions. Okay, we're going to have Hellions coming out. Just keep in mind there is room here for a tech lab, or perhaps a reactor. If you really want to go that far, you can start massing medevacs and just start floating over your opponent's base and being really annoying so he can't click on things. I don't know, but perhaps we'll see some crazy stuff going down. But I'm thinking it's going to be a quad Hellion drop. We'll probably see them just try and drop through the this darkened section of the base. Ironically, given that this map actually has one of the smallest mains in all of the ladder maps, there is still that darkened portion for the moment. So it looks as if we've got Itachi just expanding off the one gate and then taking an extra two gates, and going to be getting up a couple of sentries, I would presume, to make sure he can defend against any sort of marine attacks, which is a standard sort of thing that you do see. Now, in terms of scouting, a little bit surprised that Itachi has not actually sent up at least a probe, if not a zealot perhaps, to try and scout out exactly what is happening at the front door of his Terran opponent. But obviously he's just going to try and be safe in the knowledge that he's got a few sentries up and running, which can of course help with, as we mentioned, defending against bio attacks. Now, we see that he's got the 3 gates up and running, so he's going to be able to get a few units out. The problem he's going to have, I'm thinking, here comes this drop. We'll keep an eye on what is going on with this one. The problem that he has is that he only has how many stalkers in the main? He's got one stalker down at the natural expansion, so that's going to be a little bit of a worry there for Itashi. But here come those Hellions just running in here, getting one of the Hellions to go around the other side. Beautiful move there by Michael. In fact, lining up those probes. This is going to be trouble. And down go a lot of those probes, and it looks as if he may try and just escape with this medevac with those Hellions. That is absolutely beautiful work there by Michael. In fact, he's going to drop out these Hellions, perhaps try and cause some more mischief. And look at that, 10 workers killed to the measly 2 of Itashi's units. So as we can see, trying to come in here with this one Hellion inside the natural expansion, somehow gets through all of those probes. Meanwhile, in the main base, we've got these extra Hellions just coming inside, trying to take out whatever leftover probes are still inside the main, and just going to pick up with that medevac, may be able to get the snipe down, but not enough stalkers and not enough good positions for them to shoot from. Is going to perhaps lose his medevac now though, but down it goes, and one Hellion gets out, going to try and run away, but not going to get too far. But here is that tech lab we were talking about again, getting cloak research up and running. Going to have one Banshee, perhaps two, of course, as everyone will probably know, you can actually get 2 Banshees out by the time your cloak research is done, providing you have the gas, of course. But he's done a great job there with that harassment. We'll have a look at the worker tally. We've currently got the Protoss sitting on 26, so he's not exactly too far behind. Of course, he's had the bonus of that extra Nexus being able to get out an extra probe per turn, plus the Chrono Boost as well. Where were those Banshees gone? No, they're still producing at the moment. But so the worker count is actually quite even. So it's good that Michael did get that harassment off and was able to take out some of the probes. Meant that Itashi was his economy was kept in check. But of course, given that the second Nexus was up, there was a little bit of trouble, given that he's now going to be starting to fall behind in the worker count anyway. But here is one observer, a little bit worried that that observer is already on the way to Michael's base. There is no second observer out at the moment here. He's only got the one. He is going to need a second one because his cloak is on the way. A second Banshee now done. In fact, a third is even in production. This could get a little bit worrying here for Itachi. He's got these 2 Banshees coming through. One of them has a whole heap of cloak ready to roll. I don't know why I said row. He's not rowing in these planes, but maybe he could get some oars out and just start throwing them down. But here goes the cloak, just cloaking up, taking out probes left, right, and center. These stalkers have no idea what is going on. They cannot see, of course. You can see that little the blur of the Banshees there. Now they're going to try and head across the to the natural expansion if they can get in here. The observer is being chrono boosted out. He's trying to get that through as soon as he can. The probes are being absolutely decimated at the moment here. They have got nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. They have got no cubby forts that they can make with some pillows. But here comes that observer. There it is. Actually, getting those stalkers a little bit out of position, just trying to cover the fact that the Banshees could have gone up the backside of the map, but that observer is now again out of position. Here it comes. The stalkers in a decent spot. They did not take a shot here. We'll just keep an eye on what the stalkers can see. But again, the observer is not on a hotkey here for Itachi. He's just actually losing position on wherever that Banshee is, and obviously now the Banshee is going to be able to escape. But as we can see, that third Banshee, in fact, coming through the backside here. Where is that observer? Is it out of position again? It is actually heading across to the side, and again, Itachi has no vision. And now he is going to be able to see it and should be able to take it out. Down it goes, and there it is. So great harassment there by Michael, and whilst this has been going on, he's been securing this natural expansion, getting the orbital command up and running, and getting a sizable ground force up and running as well, as we'll see on the army tab. We currently got, actually let's have a look at this one. We got the army supply sitting at 37 for Michael, sitting at 43 for Itachi. So whilst Itachi does have a lot of those stalkers out, his worker supply is way down from where it should have been, but obviously he's going to have to work back to get some of those probes out and chrono away. He is. Stim is just about done for Michael. He's going to have that up and running, which is going to mean perhaps we'll see some sort of timing push. I would be a little bit worried if he did try and push in. We've got a lot of stalkers, which of course aren't the most fantastic way to deal with a lot of Marines, especially when there's a few tanks to back up, but along with those sentries, he should be able to clean this up, I would think, if he tries to push through. So we'll see what happens here. These sentries are all full on energy. These guys have had a lot for lunch, and they're going to be eating up with all sorts of sentries. And here comes another Banshee. So we've got A fourth Banshee now coming in. In fact, that could have been that one from earlier, but he is going to try and just distract Itashi from actually mining at this space if he can, while he actually pushes through the middle of the map. We've got a lot of Marines in this group here. We've got 29 Marines out on the map. We've got 3 tanks. Tank perhaps pushing a little bit too far before it actually sieged up. In fact, the second one as well. Beautiful force field, segmenting these forces. These guys are not going to be going anywhere. In fact, the second round of those force fields doing a fantastic job there for Itachi, and he's taken out the tanks. He's taken out most of those Marines. These guys are going to have to run home to fight another day, because there is no way they're going to be doing too much damage here. Stimming up and actually may lose 1 or 2 of these Marines. Takes out 2. That one Stalker fighting against the 5 Marines actually took out 2 of the Marines, given that they were low health, and they did have a stim that took off there as well. So a little bit unfortunate there for Michael attacking in with that. I think perhaps his tanks were a little bit slow to siege up. Probably should have done that a little bit quicker than where he did it. But it looks as if we're going to have an attack here from Itachi, just pushing down through the right side of the map. Going to clean out the Zelnaga watchtowers before he gets too far, or maybe he's not. Have we got some harassment going on? Yes, we do. We got a Banshee coming through here, just down the back. Where is that observer? I'm thinking that there should be about 5 of them on the map by now, given how much pressure is coming on with these Banshees. In fact, he's not actually heading back with that main attack force. That's going to stay down here in the middle of the map. The Banshee is now going to run away. Can see the robotics bay here as well, so that's actually going to give him a little bit of a clue, as if he's that dude from CSI, as to what is going on. But as we can see, we've got a very decent force here from Michael, but he's going to run into a bit of trouble if he gets force fielded up again, and he does get picked off. A few of those go down. Unfortunately, the sentries actually got caught at the back there and weren't able to put the force fields down as soon as they could. 2 tanks sitting here. One of them sieged up. He should be able to siege up this other one quite soon and make sure that he can secure this position. But one thing to note that Itachi has done quite well is get this observer inside and just keep it here on the natural expansion. Keeps an eye on what mining is going on, and also keeps an eye on what production is coming through from the Terran main base. And as we can see, we'll probably see Michael maybe look to actually take out this gold expansion here and get that up and running if he can. That'd be absolutely fantastic for him. And it looks as if he's going to do a double medevac drop up the into the main base. As you can see, just rallied up here. This one probe may be the savior of Itachi. If he can perhaps run around with that probe a little bit, he could be able to spot it. One Stalker warping in. He's not actually aware of where that drop is coming yet, but it does look as if while this is going on, Michael is going to try and take out the rocks on this gold base, and once he gets that done, he'll be able to take that with a... Was there a 3rd command center building? No, there wasn't. So, but he will be able to take that base pretty quickly. And speaking of taking bases, here come the medevac drops. They're going to drop some Marines on top of that Stalker, taking the Stalker out, stimming up, going to be able to take out a lot of these probes as well. There is the finally, ironically, an observer actually inside the base when it's not actually needed. But here comes the drop, just moving into the natural expansion here, moving out of position. These Marines are not going to get too much done, I wouldn't think. There is a Colossus off to the side and take down a lot of those Marines. It does, and in fact, loading back up, somehow this medevac has escaped with 24 health and a lot of Marines inside. Perhaps might want to try and take out a pylon or 2 if he can, but not going to be able to do too much. Just dropping down 1 Marine, a little bit of micro here, very cute from Michael there, but he's not going to get too much done, given that those Zealots and the Stalkers are on the ground as well, able to take out any of those forces that drop out. So, as we said, we can see that Michael is sitting here in a very nice lead, with the supply currently sitting at 120 to the 115, just a little bit ahead at the moment. What he's got to be very careful of is those the Colossus that are actually starting to come out in a decent number here. We've got 1 already out, and we've got a second one on the way. We've got look at those observers. I mentioned having a lot of observers before, but now he's got 2 with his main group. That's quite interesting. But we'll see what Itachi is going to do. I'm thinking he's going to try and go for some sort of Colossus push. Do we have the extended thermal lance? Yes, we do. We've got a couple of upgrades. We've got +1 to armor and ground weapons done for Itachi, so he's going to be in a good position to do some damage. He's got a lot of Stalkers here. I'm just a little bit worried. Perhaps it's maybe pushing the count on the Stalkers, but obviously we'll see what happens. He wants to be able to take out the Vikings, which evidently Michael will be going for. As we can see, they are the best way, of course, to counter those Colossus. He's got a starport there with a reactor, just getting out the extra Vikings. He's currently sitting on these 4 racks inside the main. We've got only 1 engineering bay, but the 4 racks, we've got a factory, a starport, and in fact there's 2 factories, so he should be able to get out a decent amount of tanks. He's got the current amount of tanks is sitting at 6. He's got a sensor tower here for good detection as well. But it looks as if Itachi is actually preparing to take this 3rd base here. very interested to see how he goes about that, but a scan goes down and we'll be able to see that the rocks are being taken out there and that perhaps Itashi is looking to take out that base. Vikings coming in from the side trying to get some position on the Colossus. We'll see if Itashi's actually grouped. No, he hasn't. He's grouped the Stalkers differently, but not the Colossus. But here we go. We've got another drop inside the main, taking out a few of these probes. These Marines doing a very decent job. They are currently sitting on 1-1 upgrades. These 3 Stalkers are actually blocking each other out, and in fact, these Marines may take out that whole group of Stalkers, and in fact, they are going to retreat for the time being. But Itashi is just in a little bit of trouble at the moment here. He's currently sitting on the 124 supply. Michael is currently sitting way up on 161 for the moment here. He's got the planetary up and running. He's going to get that second gas on the gold base up and running soon as well, and is just in a very good spot. What I would like to see from Michael is some more of these upgrades pumping out, perhaps a second engineering base so we can get some more upgrades going on these infantry units, but definitely at least level 1 of the vehicle weapons, I should say. And he's not getting it just yet, but he is keeping up his Viking count. So that is one good thing we can see here from Michael, apart from the fact that he's absolutely in the lead at the moment. But looks as if we've got Itashi double expanding. This is very, very good from Itashi. He obviously needs to take a little bit of a risk in terms of the position he's in. He's suffered a lot from the drops. He's lost a lot of probes there, as we can see. He's sitting on 40 probes. That is such a low amount for this point of the game. We're currently 22 minutes into the game, and he's only sitting on 40 probes. You'd expect that a lot earlier, but he's obviously got to deal with a lot of these drops and a lot of the harassment that has come through in the early part of the game. So he's got a bunch of Stalkers sitting back in the main base. He's getting double upgrades, which is fantastic to see. I love seeing double forge. We've got +3 to weapons on the way, +2 to armor. And he should be able to do a great job with those upgraded units very soon. As we can see, the Stalker's doing a nice amount of damage against these bio forces, but when those Marauders come into play, they're not going to get too much done. Retaking the Zelnug Watchtower, got to be very careful with these Stalkers here. They don't have Blink. Just be keeping that in mind. They don't have Blink, and the Zealots don't even have Charge. This is actually very interesting sort of position here for Itashi. I'm actually seeing what he's getting up to. He's getting Storm up and running, so he is going to be spending a little bit more on those Zealots, as we can see, just warping in a few more of those. So he's going to have some extra gas to create some of those Templar when they come into the mix. And the Vikings now actually looking out to see if they can find some air units to play with, or perhaps maybe harass at this expansion. No, he's actually, what is he doing? Okay, he's going up the back. I'm not really sure what the point of that is, but it does look as if he's going to try and go up the back part of the natural expansion, maybe just scout out if he can catch a random Colossus coming out of the robotics facility, but he's not going to be able to do any of that. We're currently switching to the Templar tech. Blink is now on the way. These Vikings trying to get inside and do some probe harassment. Of course, that would be a great success for Michael if he can get some more probes down, given how low the probe count is for Itashi, and in fact putting down a couple of the Vikings here at this third base and actually doing a great job of forcing back the probes from mining at this base here. A couple of these gateways going up, they're not going to get too far because it looks as if the Bioforce is now pushing through the middle, going to take out this gold base, no problems at all, easy peasy, and it looks as if these Vikings will be taken out. There are still a couple of Vikings inside the main. They're trying to take out the probes that were here as well, but it looks as if we're going to have a big battle here. Not a great position. In fact, both players are not in the best position, especially seeing as these Stalkers don't have Blink just yet. In fact, the Stalkers out in front not doing a great job. Storm's going off. My mouse is going off as well. It's going crazy up here, but we do have this attack now trying to push through here from Itashi. He's got a lot of tanks. Look at all those tanks down to the southern side of the map. Storm's going off everywhere here for Itashi. He's doing a great job, but I don't know if there's enough. These 4 Colossus will definitely do a great amount of damage here, but they're now in range of some of these tanks. The Vikings, of course, will do a lot of damage as well, and Itashi is forced back for the moment. He has done a nice amount of damage here. Both players actually were falling down underneath the 100 supply limit there, but just a good fallback there from Itashi. He doesn't want to commit too hard. Of course, when you're facing against a Terran with a lot of tanks that are set up and ready to rumble, that's not the best way to push in. So I'm just wondering if we're going to see a little bit of a switch here from Michael. He's got extra racks built up here. We've currently got a total of, what's that, 7 racks up and running. He's probably going to get a couple more, I would assume. But for the moment here, we're currently waiting to see if Itashi is going to go a lot harder on the Templar tech, or perhaps if he's going to get get maybe switch back into the Colossus, because that's a good way to play it. A lot of people, you talk about how Zerg can do a Broodlord switch from Ultralisk, and it can cause a lot of trouble for Terrans. A lot of people still, you know, you see people switching back and forth between Colossus and the Templar as well, of course, because main counter to Templar are the Ghosts, which are actually starting to come out here for Michael. So, of course, if you're seeing a lot of Ghosts coming out, the Viking count is starting to dissipate, switch back into Colossus. Maybe you can get some good work off those Colossus as well. Nexus is cancelled here at the gold. A Storm goes down, not actually doing too much, perhaps doing a little bit of damage to himself as well. In fact, yes it does. The Storm actually ate up the shields of those Zealots there, and then the Zealots actually took some health damage. Not the greatest work there. But down here at the attempted 4th base of Michael, a couple of Stalkers blinked inside and took down that orbital command. Want to get these out of here right now, because you don't want to lose too many of these units here. Got to try and be as efficient as possible in this sort of late stage of the game. He's going to try and perhaps push up to the side, blinking into range of a couple of tanks, and that is not the way you want to go if you want to escape from this base, I tell you what. But it looks as if he's Michael's going to try and get that back up and running again. We can see that the +1 to vehicle weapons is finally just about done. Charge is also finally done as well, and we've got just a lot of bio coming out here from Michael at the moment. Looks as if he's going to just go a very healthy mix of bio and mechanical units here. Of course, the tank's providing a lot of damage against the Zealots when they're trying to charge through, and should be able to take out the Colossus if he focus fires. We've got 3 Colossus in total here. A couple of these, we've got a Templar, a few Templar out, I believe. Yeah, there's a few Templar out. The Zealots now have 2 armor and 3 to their weapons, and they're about to get 3 to their armor very soon as well. So we'll probably see exactly what Itashi is going to do here. If he can get that gold up and running, he'll be in a very good spot. But as we mentioned, a lot of tanks out, and this can actually provide him with a lot of trouble in keeping this gold base. He does have this 3rd base here off to the side up and running, which is very good for him, of course. I'd love to see a cannon up here to make sure he's defended at the top as well, but just not going for that just at the moment here. But just a bit of posturing going on between these two guys at the moment. It looks as if Michael is trying to push up into the just in range, in siege range of this gold expansion. A couple of Ghosts are going to have their way with those pylons as well. Just trying to do what they can before they get feedbacked, and bam! Down goes that feedback. And taking out 2 of the Ghosts, but he did get an EMP off. Got to be really careful with this clumping of these units here. In fact, the feedbacks go off, and he is able to take down all of those Ghosts. So now the Ghost count is currently sitting at 2 for Michael. He's got to be very careful with how he engages here. If he engages, a couple of Ghosts still back here in the middle, but it looks as if we're going to have a face-off here at the left-hand side. Zelnaga Tower, bad storms there from Itashi. Not the greatest way to deal with your opponent, but he is going to be able to do a few more storms. There he goes. Beautiful stuff on top of the medevac groups and some of these tanks as well, taking out a lot of these forces here. And I'm just sort of a little bit worried about how Itashi is pushing in there. The Colossus and the Storms not doing the best job they could have, but he's obviously got a lot of healing here. Michael is just in a great spot to heal. What a problem for him that he's actually got a lot more tanks at the moment. So we'll see what he does. He's actually got to get some more mining going at this 4th base, and once he gets that up and running, he should be in a very good spot. So we'll see what Itashi is going to do. He is getting a few more Colossus out. If he can keep that up, he'll be able to fight back. I just feel as if he's not in the greatest position here. I don't think this gold is going to be staying up too long. And have a look at the map presence here from Michael. He's got this Zelnaga watchtower providing a lot of vision of where his opponent's forces are. As we can see, he's able to see exactly what is coming up through this side, and will be able to fight back if needed. And actually, we see a Ghost just trying to put down some feedbacks. Actually did get a feedback on top of the Templar there, forcing them into an Archon, and one Templar is actually going to have to be very careful there. A couple of these guys are actually just sitting off to the side. Perhaps want to see them split up a little bit, but it looks as if while this is all going on, we've got a drop commencing up to the top left-hand side, perhaps inside this base here. If he can get some of these units in, he will be able to do some damage to those probes, perhaps to stim and take care of that Nexus, but it doesn't look he's going to. Just trying to actually distract Itashi while he actually pushes inside the left-hand flank. May be able to try and get inside and take out some of these Colossus, perhaps, if the Storms don't go down straight away, but it looks as if we've got a drop, and here come those units. I would love to see them try and take out the Templar Archives, perhaps, but some Zealots warp in, and they're able to deal with those ground forces there. The Zealots, keep in mind, do have 3 to their armor now. they're going to be taking a lot of damage and giving the old don't argue to those Marauders. So they will be doing a great amount of damage against those drops and should be able to hold them for the time being. And it looks as if the Zealot's well aware of what is going on here, trying to run inside, actually able to get the jump on that drop straight away. A couple of Stalkers trying to do what they can, but they're not going to warp in time. They do have Blink, so they could be able to take care of this force here, and it looks as if he is going to be able to deal with that for the time being. Takes out one of them, may want to try and get this one as soon as possible, or perhaps we'll see an attack coming through the left-hand side, and yes, we do. A scan going down, just taking care of that Observer, and it just looks as if Itashi is not going to actually get attacked by Michael, this could actually swing around. So we'll see what happens here. Medevac just up the top side there, got a feedback long range from downtown. This guy getting a beautiful kill on top of that Medevac, taking that out straight away, and it looks as if Itashi is actually going to try and take his 5th base over here. If he can get this up, this could be a great game swing for him, but I'm not sure if he's going to. These Marines and Marauders do have +3 to their weapons. They've only got +1 to armor, so they are a little bit behind on that. In fact, he doesn't even have the upgrades for armor on the way for these infantry forces. A little bit surprised about that, but trying to take out some of these Medevacs before they can escape. Doing a good job there, Itashi. So he's currently sitting on this gold base. Got an okay amount of pros. So we're currently sitting, these guys are both sort of sitting even on harvesters at this point of the game. Sitting on 49 to 47. Itashi just a little bit in the lead there. So he's going to be mining off this base. Of course, this one is mining quite nicely, and if this Nexus gets up and running, he'll be doing a fantastic job for his economy. But I'm just waiting to see what Michael is going to do about that. A couple of Colossus striding over the ridge there, trying to take some shots at those tanks, but the tanks will say something about that, and so will these Vikings off to the side. These Stalkers not on the ball, should be able to blink under and take care of those Vikings, but a couple more tanks, as we've mentioned. Great tank presence here from Michael off to the side, taking care of a lot of those units, and should be able to deal with any sort of counter-attack through the side. But the problem here now for Michael is that this base is now going to get up and running very soon, and as we'll see on the income tab, that is actually really starting to push up the production capabilities of our Protoss player. Currently sitting on 1,500 mineral income and around about 550 gas, so he's currently sitting in a very nice spot here. If he can actually get, how many gateways has he got? I'm actually real perplexed about how many gateways he's only got. What's that, 7 gateways? Dude, we're 40 minutes into the game. What are you doing? Not really sure, but anyway, he's obviously trying to make the most of his units. He's spent a lot on those Templar. He's got a lot of Colossus as well. Has spent a lot on the Colossus, I should say. And probably would want to see him actually get a bunch of gateways. In fact, there it is. Beautiful. Good timing there, Itashi. Good job. That's actually perfect. He's getting up an extra... how many is that? That's 6 gateways inside the main, so he should be able to provide a lot more production very, very soon. As we can see, he's in fact getting a couple more observers out so he can keep an eye on the map. Of course, the problem that he's got at the moment is very little map vision. He can obviously see and knows where the Terran will be, given the positioning of all of these tanks and that sort of thing, but just has to be a little bit worried about these ghosts that are hanging around. And big EMP on top of every single unit here in this clump. Of course, the ghost didn't actually get to hit that Colossus, but was able to get inside with that and was able to take out some of those units. These, interestingly, the Templars still have energy because it was only the one EMP and only takes out 100 of that energy. And Storm's going down. Beautiful feedbacks as well. Where are these forces from the side from Itashi? Here he comes finally. Should be able to put down some Storms perhaps to take care of these Marauders. They're very, very low, but not able to get inside. And of course, this tank, this net of tanks, which are actually just going to capture anything that try and move through that left-hand side, is just going to be a lot of trouble. And here we go. We've got mass warp-ins here from Itashi, finally utilizing his economy here with all of those extra gateways that he built. He's going to be able to whack down a few more as well. And now he's coming inside to harass this 3 o'clock base that Michael has attempted to get up, losing a lot of those SCVs and, of course, the mining time as well. We'll have a quick look at the income tab in just a second. We'll watch all of these SCVs die if they're not careful. But now just pushing through this side. This is big for a couple of reasons. It means that Michael has to be prepared on his right-hand side and can't commit too hard to the left here. But of course, it also means that the mining is going to be quite low here from Michael. And as we can see, tank one lonely tank here at this base is not going to do too much against the Zealots. And in fact, the Zealots are going to be able to take that out quite swiftly. Going to now try and get rid of some of these SCVs. The mining for Michael is going down, down, down. Look at that. We've actually got no mining going on at all at the moment. moment here. These two command centers are actually lifted up out of position, and it looks as if he's going to try and push in through the side. Jangbi storms all over the place here, putting down storms on those tanks, doing great amount of damage against those tanks, taking a lot of them out. Have a look at that. We see the supply finally dip, and Itashi is actually in the lead. Going to need a few stalkers to take care of these Vikings here, of course. The Zealots, meanwhile, attacking down at this third base, doing what they can to keep that under control. But the production capability is really going to start kicking in here from Itashi. He should be able to start whacking out a few more Templar and the Colossus as well. He's got this base still mining at the moment. He really should perhaps switch a few of these probes across to this base, actually get that mining a little bit more efficiently, and some gas would also help as well. But he's currently sitting on a bank of 3,000 minerals, 2.5k gas. Really, why isn't he resupplying? I've got no idea what's going on. We've got no warp-in cooldowns here. Finally, alright, there we go. Alright, he is using it up. We've got a few Zealots just warping in here. He's probably going to look to try and take out this base again. Obviously, just again, basing it on the fact that Michael is very immobile with this force. He is going to try and push through with some tanks. Can see some Templar in the distance. Colossus are going to have something to say about that. They do come through, and it looks as if he does take out two of those tanks. So, meanwhile, just down at the third base, we've got this one just about to die as well. If more of these SCVs going down and down again, and this base as well is going to be held up because these Zealots are going to be just parking themselves here. They have got free parking at that particular spot, but it looks as if an attack coming through. Here's some Marauders are not really going to do too much. There are a bunch of cannons there, which is really going to help out with the defense of that position, but taking out a few of the Templar, good job there by Michael. We're just going to see if these lack of upgrades is something that could cost Michael the game. We've got the Protoss currently sitting on 303, so he certainly has a lot of forces to defend with, and obviously has all of those upgrades as well. One Colossus coming from the side, not really doing too much, but it looks as if an attack is going to commence. We got Templar throwing down storms all over these tanks. Here they go, actually warping in some Archons there, because he did lose some energy to those ghosts, but it looks as if the Colossus are going to be able to do a lot of damage, but not enough. We've got the Marauders actually doing so much damage here. It looks as if Itashi is actually starting to fall a little bit, but I think the supply lead is going to give him a huge advantage. These Zealots just warping in and just chasing after those Marauders are going to be able to take care of them, no problem at all. The Archon at the back, meanwhile, is going to do what it can against these medevacs, and I think this could be the end for Michael after this whole game, just really in a really nice spot, actually just controlling this part of the map. I think his problem has been is that he hasn't really pushed into the Protoss forces at the gold, and has obviously not had a great fun time dealing with these Zealot harassments in the late game. So we'll see if he is going to be able to push up. I don't think anything's going to happen. We've got a supply of 49 to 150. Talk about having a bit of a supply lead there. We've got Itashi sitting here with a grand total of 5 Templar, 7 Stalkers, a Colossus, an Archon, and 27 Zealots out on the map. No mining is going on for Michael. Actually, he's got a tiny bit. He's long distance mining from one of the bases. No, he's actually mining from the natural. But the forces of Michael currently amount to a grand total of 4 Marauders, 5 Marines, a tank, 2 Vikings, and 10 medevacs. So, as we said before, perhaps he could use those medevacs to try and block his opponent from seeing anything. These Zealots, speaking of which, are a little bit unseen under that command center there, but not able to block it for too long. The Marines and Marauders coming inside to try and take care of that, and take care of it they will. Finally cleaning up that expansion here, is now finally able to get some mining done. If he can get some more units up and running, he could be in a good spot, but I just feel as if Protoss is in such a commanding lead right now. Trying to take out this expansion here, if he can get a little bit more damage done, he should be able to take it, but he isn't able to. But this Protoss Death Ball is just starting to get out of control, and I don't think there's any way that Michael is going to be able to deal with this. Not actually sure why he's still in the game just at the moment. We'll probably see another attack come through from Itashi. He's still sitting on that 2k bank, so he's in a fantastic spot. Obviously, you don't want to attack into a Terran who's sieged up and has a lot of defensive posture, but given how far the lead that Itashi is in, he's finally pushing through, and I think we will probably see the end of this in just a second. These Marines and Marauders trying to come through the top side, may try and get some of these pylons, but alas, it is not going to be anything at all useful to his impending defeat. And as we can see, he's taking care and actually putting down a Nexus on top of this base. You're not taking this base, that is actually mine, and that is going to be it for Michael. There is no way he's going to come back. These Protoss forces now pushing inside this base, going to be easily able to get rid of all of this. this. Supply currently sitting 189 to 48, and there is the GG. So Michael not actually able to hold out and try and get his forces into a big enough ball to attack, but just actually I feel as if those upgrades really sort of cost him in the long run. As you can see, the Terran units, if I can actually find one, sitting on 1-3 at 50 minutes into the game. That is, you know, that's not cool, bro. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, great job by Itashi there to just hold out for the time being and get this gold finally up and running, and then secure this base as well. Just in a fantastic spot after that, sort of once he got the gold up. So great job there by Itashi, and we'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.